Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode on this channel. Today we will be talking about the DK deserts. And so let's get started. Now, what are all these deserts about? First of all, get that helmet up there since we're going to be in a sandstorm. Alright, what are these deserts about? Now, deserts aren't always hot. Deserts can be also cold, and in the definition of desert, it is a plain area which is dry and has very less precipitation in the year. And there's about 10 inches or less rainfall, and the average annual year of rainfall of a desert. Now, there are loads and loads of things about deserts that happened that are never gonna happen. But some of the things is that a lot of deserts are literally just too hot to be cold, and some deserts are too cold to be hot. Now, that might be a vice versa type of thing, but however, it still works. Another thing is that all these desert things, it talks literally about deserts, and as an Arabic saying says, Allah, the desert is Allah's. Nobody controls the desert but Allah. Allah means God in Arabic, so I guess what you mean here. And in translation, it is said that Allah or God himself made the desert so that he can have somewhere to walk in peaceful ways, since other places on the earth are having wars. And of course, Egypt does have some kind of wars. And deserts have loads and loads of different features. There are loads and loads of features of the deserts that you might have never known, such as cold deserts, or such as Antarctica or the Arctic, and sometimes even parts of Iceland, because it is kind of icy. And another part is that there are loads and loads of deserts in Australia, and a lot of deserts happen to be hot. And that's why hot deserts are commonly imagined when the term desert was said frequently. There are loads and loads of things that we need to talk about in the subject of desert, but we can't get into every little possible detail, even the atomized details. However, we'll just keep them in simple terms. There are loads, and the origins of deserts are actually found in loads of different ways to talk about these deserts. So some of them are like this. First of all, some of these origins are actually set in myth. One of them is like this: Turkey is said to be a very bad at tantrum thing, like for the globe. And there are loads and loads of tantrums in a desert. It is said that a desert in the ancient times was said to have been having a tantrum by a turkey. And that turkey for now had a lot of influences with a burning stick, if you ask me. The burning stick scorched himself in the desert, and then nobody even dared to come back to the desert unless they had to stay there for their survival. And now let's look at the globe. Alright. Now for the first common deserts, the Arctic. The Arctic is made out of loads and loads of countries. So some of them all the countries are in Russia, Canada, parts of Canada, Alaska, Greenland itself. No, not Iceland. There is Norway, Sweden, Finland, and of course there is Russia. And those are some of the countries that make the Arctic. And now onto the other end of the globe. The Arctic. The Arctic is a vast type of continent. It's said to be a continent and a whole kind of desert itself, because it is dry and has not a lot of snowflakes coming out there. Yes, and there are loads and loads of things that happens. And now let's move into Australia. Australia right here is a desert because, well, of course it is pretty hot. And then we're going to one of the obvious deserts of the world, the continent Africa. Of course it is hot, and also it is on the equator line. So the places near the equator are where there are the possibilities of more deserts. So there is a big possibility that there is a desert in Gabon, the Congo, the Republic of Congo, Tanzania, and Uganda, and even Kenya, Somalia, and loads of other countries in Africa. Loads and other countries in Africa. Those are where loads and loads of deserts are actually found commonly, along the equator. The line that I just drew here is where the equator is supposed to be. The equator is actually the hottest places on the earth. Let's say that this side is facing the sun, and on the equator, when this equator is facing the sun, that is where it gets pretty hot. That's just a little bit of background knowledge so that you will understand what I'm gonna say next. Deserts might be hot, but also they might be cold. But they have loads and loads of survival tips. The worst survival tip, the worst survival challenge that all the survivors of the desert need is to find water where it doesn't seem to have any water. Weird, right? Such as one of the most famous representations of a desert in the United States is Death Valley, which is where I really want to go. And as they say, it is hot enough to cook breakfast. Another thing about deserts is that there are loads and loads of different types of deserts in here. And that's where I really want to end this episode. So yeah, that is basically it. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next episode. Jihan out. Peace!